Hello, welcome back. Last time I spent a whole bunch of time here in Elevator figuring out how to paradox, and I went through a long and complicated process with an ultimately surprisingly simple result. And I'm happy it's this simple because this means that if I have to restart in this paradox, it won't feel particularly punishing. So it's just that, and then this. And in here. So I had a weird little moment with this puzzle a day or two ago where I was lying in bed in the morning, right a little before, I guess it was yesterday, before this would have, previous episode would have gone up. And I just sort of was turning over what I knew about these layouts in my head, and I thought I had seen a path to a solution to this diamond, and just had a weird little moment where, like, I got up way earlier than I usually would and came here to look at things. Then I realized I had never seen these rooms with water in them. So, turns out that the solution I had been thinking about does not work because when this floods, the bottom part doesn't also flood. Or the little cup in there. Presumably that's also true for the other thing, the one with the permanent blower in it. Does this have a jar spot in it? It does. And yeah, okay, so. The amount of blocks I'm missing to jump out of there is 2. Okay, yeah, and from there I didn't have other ideas about what to do. Anyway, so, first thing, I think the end state of this puzzle is to bring the block out to the top level and put it here, or well, anywhere here. Get on top of it with the blower, throw the blower to the right so that it lands somewhere down there, then just empty-handed do a jump up here, blow up to the diamond, and that's all I need. So all I gotta do is get a block out and get the blower out. If the blower becomes non-permanent during that process, that's fine as long as it reaches the top level. The bottom of this is dry. Okay. Something's gonna involve, I have the idea of taking... Yeah, something occurred to me with, like, taking a jar down into that little pit, putting the blower into it such that the blower lands at the bottom of this room, then exiting that jar so I could get back out with the blower. And I think, actually, I can just do that. Right? Sure, that ought to be fine for getting the blower. There's probably something more to doing the rest of this, though. So here's that jar. Here's the means to make this chest wet. I'll lose that chest in the process. Will I? I don't think I necessarily will. Hold on, so if this acids... Okay, it can still blow from underwater, sure. So permanence of that is gone. If I take this out of there... Well, let's try it. So here I can have either the blower or the chest. The chest is now useless. There's... Whoa. There's nothing of interest in here. Probably. I did just blow that block up, which is fun, but I don't think I can do anything about that. So okay, blower's out here. I lost the chest for it. I think I can trade the blower for the block, which, you know, isn't particularly good, but I think I can do it. I could make a jar of both, but I could only take one of them out of that jar, right? I mean, yes. And also I lose the chest for the jar. Alright, well, see ya, blower. You're gone. I got the block. Yep, and I'd pick up the blower and toss it over there, and that would give me the diamond. Okay, so that would seem to be some of the pieces of the solution. What are the rest of them gonna look like? Yeah, so restarting, it takes a moment, but only a short moment. Okay, getting some ideas here. Not good ones. So if I bring a jar in here and put the blower into it and exit, then the blower is going to be in the acid and it will stop being permanent. So now hang on, I can come in here and make as many wet jars as I want. So if I only need this for water, I can just do that as much as I want. And if I could perform a trade with this chest, it'd be fine because I'd still have access to water here from those. Yeah, this was the solution I was envisioning early in the morning. Actually, if I have... no. Wait a second. Okay, there's a thing I'm picturing here. What if I had that other chest with the blower in an accessible location and I brought it in my hands down here? I could pull the blower out, move the block and the chest, put the blower back in safety in the chest, and, you know, be stuck down in the pit, sure. So that's not great. Well, but I could leave the blower down in that pit and maybe retrieve it later with the same trick I used in the first place to get it. Yeah, okay, I think I have something here. Alright, so a sub-goal then is to get that blower down to the bottom of this chest in the dry, still permanent. How do I do that and get out of the pit is the question. And it feels like the answer is that I don't, because I can't get up here without, like, already having the blower. Or with acid, which would mean bad things. Okay, so at the time that I jump down into that center pit, where the blower is, the cup up there, I think I will necessarily be in a wet version of this room. I don't believe there's any transport I can do to end up at the top of a dry version of this room without already having the blower. Unless I can duplicate a whole bunch of blocks. And if I could duplicate essentially infinite blocks, then the blower would be unnecessary for solving the puzzle. There'd just be a tedious, long way to go about it otherwise. And it would take 3 blocks to climb, 4, 5 blocks to climb all the way up there in the dry. So no. And that's if it's just me. It takes 6 blocks to climb up there with an object. So yeah, the problem is, if I'm in the pit, in the wet, then the blower necessarily loses its permanence. And I need it to keep its permanence to do what I was trying to do here, where I would take that chest in, pull the blower out, get the block out with it, put the blower... No, leave the blower there. Hold up, so I wouldn't need the chest then. A jar would do. Because I would just take... Okay, so... Oh. That's still no good. I still have to first get this accessible, and getting it accessible seems like it necessarily breaks its permanence. Can I do like 2 things at once? Well, not with just one entry into the thing here. If I have both of those objects together, I'm only pulling one of them out. Unless one of them is permanent, because only one object can come out of a chest or a jar at a time. If they're both together and both non-permanent, then I'm losing one. Even if I preserve both in a jar, I can only pull one back out. Okay. I feel like this perhaps relates to the main puzzle in Elevator, as paradoxes and nowheres often do. There's something I fundamentally don't understand about that puzzle, which, if understood, might actually help here. I'm thinking of that one block that I have to duplicate out there in the real world, to duplicate it twice to get up to the elevator. And that does involve elevators, and blocks, and flooding. Elevators. Whoa, I said the word elevators when I was trying to say jars. How could I mix up those 2 words? I don't know. Basically the same concept. Okay, so for one of my plans to work, I needed access to blower in the bottom of this. If I had that, I would just have the blower out. These puzzles tend to be more intertwined than that. I doubt I can just do like 1/2 of this, get the blower out, do the other half, and get the block out, because those are the 2 ingredients I need up here. So... It is only the blower that I can throw from the top of the block, because anything else will just fall down there uselessly. The blower will fall down here usefully. I don't really need to look again at the flooded version of this room. I know what it looks like. So, how do I assemble a structure that'll let me do what I want to do? The permanence of this is definitely important. I mean, I used it once, sacrificing it to get the blower and get out of the pit with it. There is that. Without permanence, there isn't something I can do to, like, pull an object out of a room, use it, put it back in, then get it later from elsewhere. Okay, so how did I do the thing that I did to get the blower? Let's just look at that again. This is, Yeah, this is what I wanted. But not quite. I wanted first a jar of that room in the dry. Okay, sure, so. Jar of acid. Jar of dry. This doesn't seem right. Hold on. How did I do that? I came into that when it was wet while I was holding... Okay, so what I did was I took this jar in here and left it there as I manufactured this one. Yes, that's right. So this gets wet. The jar comes along. And I do that. And it loses its permanence. And there's no trickery I can do to protect that from the loss of permanence. Nor any trickery I can do to save that chest. But I could make as many jars of it as I wanted. As long as they were dry. But why would I? Because that room is now useless. There's nothing in it anymore. It would only be useful as a place to stash... I guess it could be an air pocket. But I don't need an air pocket. It'd only be useful as a place to stash something permanent, and I don't have anything like that. Here's a jar that contains both of those objects. Here's a chest that still contains the block. If I could somehow do some useful work here... and get back out with the blower... and like that useful work could... Hold on, this isn't right. I need a wet one of these? How would that happen? Like this. Uh-huh. So this jar here contains everything I need, but I can only have one of it. Can't unpack both sides. This jar contains nothing. Well, it contains one thing I need. But I can't really get at it. No. Okay, so how about the concept of bringing additional blocks in so that I could actually build my way out of there? Is that definitely impossible? Hey, I can do that even quicker. There we go. Do that on the way. So first of all, a jar to wet this. Actually, and if I want that, then I want this jar inside it. Alright, so these two are here, prepared for that stuff. The left one is the one I think I want to use. There's no way for this to go anywhere good, right? That's dry. Yeah, no, I can't go anywhere, and I wasn't going to be able to anyway. Okay, not that. It's totally the permanence. Like, see, I do use it in my current unraveling of this, but I use it up. Alright, so this is another barter, kinda. I need to think about bandwidth here. Somehow, one thing turns into a blower, one thing turns into a... one of these. So both this chest and any jar of it will be in the acid. The only container I can put that blower into that's safe for it is this one. But at the time that I do that, I will be accessing it from a wet version of this room. I have an idea. Ooh, I have a good idea. I don't think I needed to restart there, but I've done it now. Okay, there's something that I like going on here. What was it again? I had a fleeting moment of clarity. Right, so I think the shape of what I want to do is going to be that I'd like to bring this chest into that cup with the blower there. Use the blower to retrieve a jar, or just a block. Well, but taking it in there will lose its permanence. I was gonna, like, make use of the blower for a moment, do some cool operation with it that would result in me being able to get out with a block or something containing one. A different state of that room with block accessible or something. Then leave the blower there in its permanent state, exit back out, have that resource at the top, then be able to do the blower swap later. Okay, so what are all the resources it takes for a blower swap? It's... like, I can set it up now. It's... jar of this dry, in jar of this dry, chest goes in, jar goes into chest while wet. Then I take this into the jar, put it there, and I'm out. I could not usefully have had another object in here. I lose the I'm in a... Wait a minute. Well, it doesn't matter that I'm in a room with a block right now. Even if I could get at it, like if this was fully flooded, it would not help me. It is interesting, though, that I am right there now with that. There's nothing in this chest anymore. Empty, sad place. And I'm gonna leave it behind. Okay, so nothing involved in the trade for the blower consumes this chest. It uses things produced here, but doesn't use them up. So I think that's the second trade I make. Like, I will be making that trade. Maybe... So how do I get the block out? Have I done that before? Now, no, that's no good. These have to be done separately because of bandwidth. Two objects have to come to the top level. So yeah, I know a mostly separable step. Alright, so what operations would consume this chest without also consuming this one or the blower and result in me having that block? I can use the blower, I can use the other chest as long as it escapes intact. I've done this stuff before. It's not helpful. Yeah, okay, so... now, hold on. No, I do have a thing I can do here. Don't I? Okay, I have one idea. I feel like I'm asking the right question, and I almost have an answer for it. But no, right, still what I'm trying to do is to take the permanent blower down into that cup and blow the box up with it. Leave the blower there, get the box out, later retrieve the blower again. But that relies on me... Does it? Can't I just bring this into here and do those operations? Yeah, so this object would come with me when I... Here's some wet. Here's some more. In case I need a cache of those. Hold up, so the shuffle that got me the blower was this jar. Okay. You know what, you two just go away. You're not involved here. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. I would bring this into that jar, which is a wet version, or no, it's a dry version of this room. It also has a jar made here, and yes, I can get the blower out with that. Okay. So everything's set up for getting the blower back out. What I want to do... Okay, so here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to touch that blower, then get back out without having lost anything. Can I do that? Well, I don't even need this for that. Right, I touched the blower. Now I'm gonna get back out without having lost anything. Kind of. Okay, so I'm gonna come out with this jar. The answer is yes, only if I can carry this chest with me through the last step. And the problem with doing that is then I don't have... the block. Just touching the blower does nothing for me, really. I have to carry the chest back out. Okay, so I've lost nothing. The process of doing that was pretty simple. Yeah, extremely simple. It's literally just jar this, take chest in, enter chest. Alright, blower is in reach. I can't have more than one of these, and it's no better than the It's better than the chest in one way in that I can bring another object into it. Do I want a second object in here? Maybe I do. Yeah, that second object would be a dry version of this room, which wouldn't do me any good, because I still have to get out of that pit. Without any green chests, I can't do any transportation magic. How do I cast my teleport spell? I don't have access to that magic. I need to use different spells. So yeah, I feel like I have half of this solution. I have the trade that just takes this chest and turns it into the blower, a non-permanent version of it. But while I still have this chest as a resource, and the permanence of the blower, more importantly, as a resource, how do I use that to flip this into a block without destroying the permanence of the blower? I feel like there has to be a way. Get that blower into the bottom of this cup while still permanent. Okay, so theoretically, how would that happen? Theoretically, that would happen by me taking... Okay, well, before I do this, let me set some stuff up. Only necessary setup is just this, I think. That doesn't sound right. Uh-oh. So even to do this lossily... Alright, so one of these, another of these... This is what those two jars down there that I discarded are. Whatever, don't worry about it. So basically this jar here... Well, I destroyed my chest, yes. Or is it still in here? I don't think it is. No, it's not. Okay, so this would go in here and get wet, and I'd take the jar of it. And destroy that chest in the process, sure. Then the one goes into the other. Yeah, so here's how I do this, right? I have this jar, I take the blower into it. No, but then I'm down there. And nothing works. Yeah, then I'm down there and nothing works. Yeah, permanence is lost. Okay, so... The only things I can take the blower into must be dry, and that constraint is, kind of puts a damper on every plan that I had there, so I think all of my plans are not really going in the right direction here. Blower can only go somewhere dry or it loses its permanence. I know a trade that loses its permanence and gets it to the top level. But I don't know a trade that gets me this block without losing the thing that lets me do that trade. Somehow. Getting a hold of that and moving it down. I mean, if I could have the permanent blower at the bottom of this room and escape back out to the top level at the same time, I'd be fine. What if... Ooh, this is interesting. So same thing, but one level removed. Okay, so here is... Alright, how about this? Here's the wet... No, hang on. I need... I have a tangled web of dependencies here. The dry jar of this needs to also contain... No, it does it? So what if that's empty? So that dry jar goes into... Here? This doesn't feel right. Isn't it the other way around? It is the other way around. Alright, what are you... Just destroy all jars. The way I did this initially... So the blower trade involves taking this jar in here. Making that with it, which seems more compatible with what I wanted to do, actually. However, there's something missing. Okay, so when I do this, I can still cancel out of this and be fine. Here's the wet. This jar comes with me. I'd take that jar in there, do some blower operations on it, and stuff could happen. So inside this jar, I wanted to also have something else, because I'd be down there with the blower, and I could maybe exit back out holding it, but then I wouldn't get anything useful done. I can't stash it inside another jar. All entries to all rooms, except this specific one, involve going into acid, losing the permanence. If I'm ever taking the blower into anywhere, it can only be this entrance in the dry. I mean, there are only 2 entrances. Well, I mean, there's 4, you know, there's dry this, dry that, wet this, wet that. When I take it back out, Let's think about this. How would access to blower help me get that block? It would help me in that... Okay, so let's pretend... let's pretend this jar contains an accessible version of that blower. So this is the pretend jar. I'd carry it down that thing. Have access to the blower. Enter here. Pull the blower out. Have it with me. Put it down there. Get the block. Leave the blower in the cup. Exit with block. Lose this chest, I guess. I'd be exiting with the block and the blower inside this room, so at the very least I'd have to have another one of these jars to preserve that, and then the blower would be inaccessible there, so that doesn't help me much. If instead it were this chest... If instead it were this chest... How do things look? At this point, yes, I've lost the puzzle, but that's fine. I can reset quickly. So I'd bring the chest down there, I'd go into it, I'd take the blower back out. Blower would still be dry, I could bring the block up to the top, I could put the blower back in the chest and be stuck. No, none of this works. Nope. Okay, well... I think I did as much exploring of that as I reasonably can do today. Like, I have the pieces, they're just not quite going together, or maybe I'm missing a piece. Can't tell which. Alright, well, I explored. I don't even know why I'm doing this, because there's nothing else I really want to do in here. I guess just... I feel like it's... In case I have a last-second insight here. I am not having any last-second insights. Alright, so that's a thorough look at the intricacies of this paradox. Don't know how to do the diamond, don't know how to do the crystal. But now I have some puzzle pieces, and maybe the answers will come to me with time. If not, there's always well to look at. Alright, I'll see you next time for something.